back, folks, to another edition of Hashtag Ask GSM, the weekly Monday mailbag video where I answer your questions that you sent in from Facebook and Twitter over the past week. If you'd like to send in a question, make sure to tweet me on Twitter with the hashtag AskGSM at @SAVE_US_GSM. And also make sure to like my official Facebook page at GrahamGSM Matthews. These questions that were sent in over the past week, all bunch of great questions this week. Let's get right down to it. Jared J from Facebook asks, what are your thoughts on the Young Bucks / Generation Me tag team? Well, these guys were in TNA for a number of years, I believe dating back to 2010, maybe earlier than that. But I thought they were a good tag team. I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I was a fan of their matches with the Motor City Machine Guns over the World Tag Team titles, the Bound for Glory, the final few months of 2010. They weren't really used all that much in their first few months of 2011 before they were ultimately released that summer, which was a shame. I heard they had attitude issues. I don't know how true that is, but that's just what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but even still, as far as athletic ability goes, as far as their potential goes, I thought they had a lot more to accomplish in TNA than what they did. They turned them heel for their time during their feud with the Motor City Machine Guns, which I thought was cool. They never really got the tag team titles, which was a shame. They had a lot of great matches, and they split them up in the course of 2011 as well as singles competitors in the X Division, which didn't make much sense to me. I thought they were much better as a tag team. I know they're currently still wrestling, I believe, with Ring of Honor. I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I can't comment on how they're doing right now. But as far as their time in TNA goes, I really enjoy them as a tag team. I was a bit bummed out when they got released from the company and thought they should have been used better during their time with TNA and ultimately should have won the World Tag Team titles. They should be back at some point, or at least I would hope so. TNA's tag team division right now is floundering, definitely not as prominent as it once was a few years ago. So bringing them back into the mix, I think, would be a great idea in order to add to the tag team division in TNA. Jamie P. from Facebook asks, after watching Total Divas, what actually happened with John Cena's marriage? Did he cheat on her? Well, of course, John Cena divorced his wife, or, it was a mutual agreement last May, I want to say May of 2012. Did he cheat on her? It's not really for me to say. After watching Total Divas and his thing with Nikki Bella, I don't think he really got involved in Nikki Bella until after his marriage, after the divorce from last year. So I don't think he cheated on her. I don't know if that was one of the accusations. I'm not really sure. I'm not really all that informative on that subject. But personally, I don't think he cheated on her. I have no idea. But I'm going to go ahead and say no. But even still, Total Divas, by the way, if you haven't checked out an episode, I would highly suggest doing so. It's really not as bad of a show as some people portray it out to be. I thought it was a decent show. I watched it last night. Good episode. Make sure to tune in. Make sure to tune in every Sunday night on the E! Network at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. They go behind the scenes. I'm really interested by that kind of stuff. There's some stuff that's obviously scripted and whatnot. Most of it is scripted, but it's really not as bad as some people, say it is. But even still, check it out if you haven't already done so already. At Yash Kandhari via Twitter asks, do you think The Rock will be at WrestleMania 30? Most definitely. I know he's currently saying in interviews that he's not sure. He may not wrestle another match, blah, 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 blah. Which is good. He should be saying that, because the more he says that, the more of a surprise it will be when he eventually does come back. I don't think The Rock is going to turn down a big payday at WrestleMania 30 to compete. Who he's going to fight is beyond me. I'm not really sure. I've been going back and forth with this in recent months as to who his opponent should be for WrestleMania 30. Him and Lesnar, that'd be pretty cool. I know they had a one-off match at SummerSlam 02. A rematch was never held. So that'd be pretty cool. But remember, these are two guys that came up short of WrestleMania 29. So why would I want to see these guys go at it at WrestleMania 30? I don't know how they would start the rivalry. Maybe they start it after Royal Rumble next year. I have no idea. Rock and Taker is also another match, and some people are saying they want to see. Maybe. I don't really care, but I personally don't really want to see that. Rock can go in a match, but as long as he has someone to go with. Taker, kind of the same thing. I mean, as great as a wrestler as he is, he's kind of in that age. They're both kind of, it's just kind of a tough match to pull off. I know they had their rivalries back in the Attitude Era and whatnot, but, even still, at this day and age, I don't really think it's all that great of an idea, so that's not really a match that I want to see. Cena versus Rock. Never, please, not again. I'd much rather see Rock and Taker than Cena and Rock for a third time. I don't think that's in the cards, thankfully. But I'm not really sure. But even still, I'm looking forward to what his role will be come WrestleMania. If it's him versus Lesnar, fine. Maybe you turn him heel. I think that'd be great. I think he's kind of played out as the People's Champion, whatever. I know he's been doing that since he came back in 2011. But even still, I think turning him heel will be a nice change of pace for The Rock when he eventually does come back. Either later this year, early next year, beyond me. But I definitely do see him coming back for WrestleMania 30 next spring. At Steven Juco from Twitter asks, do you believe the WWE is slowly leaving the PG era behind? Somewhat. I don't think that because they're becoming edgier that they're going to transfer into the PG-14 rating. I don't see that happening anytime soon, if ever again. I think maybe Vince McMahon, I think, commented on this, or somebody commented on this recently. I think it was in one of the recent press conferences that was held. The conferences call that they held, that Vince McMahon commented on this, that they're very they benefit a lot from the PG rating and all the things that come from it and their sponsors and whatnot. I know they lost a lot of sponsors when they were PG-14, so I don't see them going back anytime soon, if that's your question. But I do see them becoming a little bit more edgier. I know they don't really show blood as much as they used to, of course. They still kind of block it out, but they're really not as strict. If someone's bleeding, they don't stop the entire match nowadays, thankfully. That was a huge pain in the ass back in 2009, 2010 when they used to do that. They don't really do that nowadays. Thankfully, I thought that's pretty cool. They use more language, more foul language nowadays on television. Usually it's not from everybody. You don't see freaking Yoshitatsu saying shit every single time on television. But you will hear the occasional ass, bitch, stuff like that from Cena, Rock, Punk, kind of the main eventers in WWE chat, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I do see them becoming edgier. They have become edgier since they turned PG 5 years ago, which is nice. But I don't see them going back to PG-14. I don't think it's really going to matter. If they went to PG-14, I don't think the quality of the product is going to improve immensely. It already is doing well for itself right now, and they're still PG. But yes, I do see them becoming edgier in due time. They already have in the last 5 years as well. So at Jamie Grubb 21 from Twitter asks, are there plans to turn John Cena heel anytime soon? Now, there are reports of turning John Cena heel every few months, every so often. There's always reports coming up. Bullshit or not, they're always there. There's always going to be plans to turn John Cena heel. I know they were going to do it with him being revealed as the leader of the Nexus. They wanted to do it this year. Or the reports or the dirt sheets were saying that. You don't know how true that is, but there were reports of turning him heel at WrestleMania 29, his match against The Rock. I don't see him turning heel anytime soon. Should he? Maybe that's debatable. I think the sponsors and stuff like that. I don't really know. With all the stuff that he does, Make-A-Wish Foundation, I'm not really sure it's a good of an idea. But maybe you try it out. If it doesn't work, then you turn him back face. That's what my philosophy has always been. Try it out. Doesn't work, turn him back face. I think it'd be pretty cool if they tested it out. I just don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon, because I think someone asked me this in one of my previous videos, who's going to be overtaking John Cena as the top face of the company. I'm not really sure yet. Daniel Bryan is up in his 30s as well. I don't see him be the next guy. Daniel Bryan, that is. Punk is going to be gone by the time Cena's gone, or even if earlier, so I'm not even sure if he's the next guy either. But, even still, I'm not really sure. I don't see him retiring anytime soon. Maybe he turns heel in the final few years of his career. I don't know, but anytime soon, definitely not. At JJF Tweets asks, what are your thoughts on Alex Shelley? Do you think he could make it in the WWE? I like Alex Shelley. I love the Motor City Machine Guns as a tandem in TNA. I loved his singles run that he had a brief feud with Austin Aries over the X Division title early last year, which I thought was great. I think he had a lot more potential to be a bigger single star in TNA than he was used. I know that he reunited with Sabin, a part of the Motor City Machine Guns, and then he left the company in the summer, which sucked because I was a huge fan of Shelley. Could he make it in the WWE? I don't really know right now if he's in ROH. Again, as I stated before, I don't watch ROH, so you guys are going to have to inform me on that. But can he make it in the WWE? I think so. I think he should jump ship to the WWE. They have a lot of cruiserweights that he can work with. Maybe he's just going to become a regular on WWE Superstars. I don't know. But if it's worth a shot. I think he's not doing anything right now, so maybe give it a shot. Him and Sabin in TNA, or him and Sabin in WWE would be amazing. But Sabin's the current World Heavyweight Champion. I don't see him leaving TNA anytime soon. But even still, I would love to see Shelley in WWE. He has a lot of potential to be a big star, not main event. World title worthy, probably. But even still, to be a mid-carder at best. Him and Bourne, I think, could put on a hell of a tag team if they put those guys together. Or maybe even a feud. I'm not sure. But Shelley in WWE would be very interesting, to say the least. JJF Tweets also asks, do you think that Lowkey Slash Caval was misused by the WWE? And how could he have been used better? I was very disappointed by how they used Caval. I was happy that he won NXT. And then in the same night, after he won NXT Season 2, he was beat up by the other rookies for no apparent reason whatsoever. Then after that, he was completely buried when he moved to SmackDown. He lost every single match that he competed in except for one. And then he finally got his IC title match against Dolph Ziggler at Survivor Series 2010. And he lost. So that's one way that they could have used him better. Have him win a little bit more. Not have him paired up with Lay Cool. on NXT Season 2, which I thought was a mistake too. His TNA reference during that promo a couple years ago was also hilarious as well. But they could have had him win the IC Championship. Ziggler ended up losing the title back to Kofi Kingston, which was a joke. He was a terrible champion when he won it back in 2011. So why not just drop it to Caval? Caval could have done a lot of things with the IC Championship. Granted, he wasn't all that over, but that's probably because he lost every single match he competed in. But I know there were plans at one point to turn him heel and join up with feud with Rey Mysterio, I believe it was. I know earlier on in his WWE tenure there were rumors of that happening. Of course, that didn't end up coming to fruition, but that could have been a cool storyline as well. If he feuded with Rey Mysterio over the IC or World Championship, what have you. But yeah, I think feuding with Mysterio, tag teaming with Mysterio. I know he tag teamed with Daniel Bryan. I believe it was on the 900th episode of Raw. That could have been a great tag team if they ended up going with that. But yeah, I was very disappointed with how they used him while in the short tenure that he was with WWE. I know he asked for a release from his contract because he knew that he was going to be used, so might as well just leave. So I don't blame him in that aspect. But I would love to see him back in WWE. I know he has no intentions of going back, but even still, I would love to see him back and use better and better utilized this time around if he was to go back to WWE. So that's all the questions for this week, guys. Thanks again for sending in all the questions. A lot of great questions this week. Again, as I stated earlier, if you'd like to send in a question, make sure to like my official Facebook page at GrahamGSM Matthews, and make sure to send me a tweet on Twitter at @SaveUS_GSM with the hashtag AskGSM. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys, and this is GSM signing out. Till next time, guys.